friend. And at the moment, he is doing Penn football. This is not a good year for Penn so far, but we're hoping that things look up for Penn. And of course, one of the great things also that he does, he is the PA voice of the Phillies. May I bring my friend Dan Baker.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to beautiful Philadelphia Veterans Stadium, where tonight the National League presents the Philadelphia Phillies and the St. Louis Cardinals. How about the Minnesota Twins? Dr. Gordon and Bob Clark, thank you for having me. I had the, by the way, I guess you lost that footage of that I sent over Robert Newman and I in a film. Well, Paul Newman. I had a chance to take some film courses at Temple and feel that it was a very worthwhile learning experience. I think it's a great opportunity for young people to learn this. I think that the parents who are out there, and I assume that there are many of you here tonight, are very appreciative for the work that Robert Clark and the Cinekyd folks have done with your youngsters, and can only echo the sentiments of some of the dignitaries who preceded me here to the microphone to wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Philadelphia's favorite, a roving critic, world traveler, will give some equal time to the University of Pennsylvania, where he's an English professor. One of the first people to say yes to Cinekyd, and we'd like to welcome Philadelphia favorite on WFLN radio, Dr. Charles Lee.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody from Cinekyd. I've been tremendously impressed. I can't see anybody out there now. But I've seen what you do. I'm speaking of the kids in particular. They are simply wonderful, wonderfully creative. And I hope two things for them. I hope they continue with their creative dreams. And I hope, and even more wonderful than that, I hope they achieve all of it. Thank you very much for asking me tonight.
There's a lady I've played with many times. No, I shouldn't say that. I've worked with, Chris Guetta, she's our favorite radio station, WSNI, who has helped me a lot. They allowed me to use all the equipment and send you all the letters. They valuable staff time, and we'd like to thank WSNI and the management there, Pyramid Broadcasting, for all that. And Chris is one of the Phillies working. She's working constantly and doing not only on WSNI, but also does a lot of commercial work. Chris, I'd like to have you up now, please. Chris Guetta.
You played with me, Mike?
I've worked with you.
Yes, right. Mike just told me about Cinekyd actually just a few weeks ago, and when he gave me the information about it, and I read about it, and I got to share a little of it with people, with whom I hang out with, whatever. They looked at it and they said to me, how come we didn't know about this stuff when we were that age? So with that in mind, this wonderful organization on this mischief night, this is a great way to keep out mischief. Good luck to you.
and gentlemen, celebrating his 10th anniversary. I think you've seen quite a bit of press the last couple of days on this man and his co-host, Evening Magazine's two top people. We have one of them here tonight. And he has been a big inspiration to people at Cinekyd because he's done a number of viewing shows on Cinekyd on Evening Magazine. We'd like to introduce Mr. Ray Murray. Ray?
Thank you. I do bring greetings from my co-host, a woman I've had a pleasure working with for 4.5 years now. She's a great inspiration. Nancy. Ladies and gentlemen, and Harv, I do want to say one quick thing because I've never had the opportunity to do this while they have been in the room together. I believe that being a Philadelphian is a state of mind as much as it is being born in Philadelphia. And with that in mind, I want to just thank two of the people who laid the groundwork for those of us who work in the entertainment side of television in the city. Pixan and Sally, thank you for doing this. We all owe you a great deal. We have done a couple of stories on Cinekyd over the last 10 years on Evening Magazine. We stopped doing that when the clips we were showing got better than our stuff. Really, it's true. It really is. I was thinking that since the show is 10 years old, that by the time the show is 20 years old, that many of the people who are at Cinekyd now, many of the young people who are at Cinekyd now will be running Evening Magazine or perhaps hosting it. Let's hope for that. God, will I be there? Anyway, it is really my great honor and pleasure to be here tonight, and I want to thank you for asking.
All that for me? Our next guest is a man whose voice everyone in this room will recognize. He's been the news voice of Philadelphia for many years on radio station WIP, and probably one of the few people in this room that appreciates Ben Burney. And I'd like to present John Paul Weber.
I see they got a picture of me when I was older. I'd like to share a couple of memories with you, if I may. It was the year 1937 was bandied about quite a bit. 1937 when this kid, not Cinekyd, this kid was 19 years old, got an audition at WIP, and the program director, who was Jimmy Quirk, later to become the publisher of TV Magazine. He said, give us a little audition, a little ad-lib on a fire. Well, apparently I did all right in describing a make-believe fire. I was hired at $20 a week. But then I found out a couple days later that I really wasn't hired yet because the general manager was out of town. That was Ben Gimble, Jr. He came back, wanted to know who I was wandering up and down the hall, and he demanded an audition before it became official. So I went through the same process, second time, added a few flames this time, and he said everything seemed to be all right. 45 years later, at the same station, I was yet to be sent out on an assignment that involved fire. You know, in younger days, you can afford to be more brash, take a few chances now and then. We used to have an inter-city network made up of two stations, WIP in Philadelphia, WMCA in New York City. We'd exchange programs, and of course later at night, the dance bands in the area. There was one time from College Inn in North Philadelphia, we sent up Billy Hayes and his ensemble. I think it was around 1:15 in the morning, and I had the feeling that not too many people were tuning in, so suppose I give a fancy sign-off. You always had to give the network cue at the end of the program. I had the engineer come up to the microphone and cue me in by saying, "Say, what is this?" "This?" I said, "Well, this is the Intercity Broadcasting System." Well, it seems somebody at WMCA New York didn't like that rather sarcastic comment, so he sent a letter down to our station, WIP, and demanded that somebody be reprimanded. Well, nobody expected that it was me that did that. The letter wound up in John Facenda's box. Well, it's great to have the ambition. I had most of the ambition the first 20 years, I guess, out of the 45, and it seems like you're willing to do more things and really make yourself successful in those years and formulate your careers, and I hope that you youngsters will take that opportunity now. My one regret after 45 years is I never made it to a 4-letter station. Thank you very much.
Great guy. This next lady, I just met for the first time this evening, and I think Cinekyd has made a friend, and as I hope Cinekyd will make a friend of everyone that is here. She was the voice for Gimbals and Clover. She's been an actress, a narrator, and she was also Sally the Stock Girl. Ladies and gentlemen, Gloria Salmonson.
Thank you. Well, I'm sorry Gene London isn't here because he was one of my major claims to fame. Probably I'm best remembered by those people who are over 26. Who may have known me as Elizabeth Throckmorton III. Many of those people are around. Hello, and thank you for remembering. In any case, on to more important things, and those are the youngsters who are here today and who are going to be known in their own right tomorrow and the day after that. I found out a lot about Cinekyd tonight, and I am so impressed and so jealous. As I made a point of saying, I would love to have been a part of a group like that when I was coming along. Might have made it a little easier for me, and maybe I would have been better recognized tonight. In any case, I wish you all well, and hopefully I'll come back again and be of some service to you in the future. Thank you.
Our next guest, noted mostly for his music, and he's been playing music many, many years, and has come into just about every one of our homes. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Larry Ferrari.
I have to say what Ken Garland said. Garland said about being first. I feel thrilled that I'm on toward the end because normally I'm not very comfortable in front of a microphone. Usually I let the keyboards do the talking for me, but I hope that you'll bear with me for a few moments here because I'm delighted and very privileged and honored to be here this evening for this very special occasion for Cinekyd. This is my first introduction to Cinekyd, although I've been around for a long, long time. In fact, this past June we celebrated our 35th year of continuous telecasting. Itinerant business, as we all know, with a revolving door policy, and we're just thrilled to be a part of this industry for all of these years. In fact, to go back a few years, back to 1953 when we started, you all know the name Lou Klein, right? Lou Klein was our first television director, would you believe it or not, doing the Larry Ferrari Show back in 1953. Willie Weber was our booth announcer. In fact, Bill has often made this comment on WIP radio that I was the guy that introduced him to his wife. Is that right, Bill?
That's right, Larry, and I haven't spoken to you since.
I know. Great guy. Bill is the booth announcer at the station. One of the booth announcers, in fact, let me just digress for a moment. The other booth announcer, believe it or not, was Shelley Gross. You remember that name too, from the Music Fair? So we go back a few years there, but Bill happened to be the announcer one evening, and his wife came in to see an organ program. Why, I don't know, but she came in to listen to organ music, and that was the introduction to his very lovely wife, Connie. I'm most thankful to be here this evening and also to be a part of this wonderful celebration for the youngsters. And I thank you all for inviting me to come out here. And I see many of the youngsters coming into the business now. We share booths on the third floor there at Channel 6 with the AM Philadelphia staff and also with Captain Noah and some of the other people who are Channel 6 staples there. And for many years we shared the booth with a terrific gal, Sally Starr, too. Wonderful lady, terrific. I see these youngsters coming in as interns. They are marvelous, they're wonderful people, and they are the ones that are going to carry the ball on for many, many years in this wonderful, wonderful, exciting world of television and radio. Thank you all for making it a nice evening for me. God bless.
Feel like I want to dance or something. My wife has, her store feet will tell you I don't dance very well. Here's part of a very popular morning program called Cannon and Company, which helps pay my bill. He's also known as Mr. Monday Night, sports director, news director, WSNI, Tony Bruno.
It's my pleasure to be here on a night when we come here to honor Harvey. Just kidding, Harvey. We are not related in any way, shape, or form. His hair is much lighter than mine. Anyway, it's really my pleasure to be here, and I'm just a mere mortal among legends here tonight. I remember when I started when I was 17, and I've had the honor of working with many people in this room tonight, Alice Stone, many of the legends growing up with Sally Starr and Pick Sand, and it's great to see all these people. Being a South Philadelphia native and a kid who started off in his basement when there was no Cinekyd, seeing the progress that's been made for the youngsters of today to be the broadcasters of tomorrow. And I remember sitting in my basement with my make-believe radio, listening to the Allen Stones and all of the great broadcasters here tonight. It's really quite an honor to be here and continued success, and thanks for having me here tonight.
About our business, as someone else pointed out, is that you get a chance to meet so many nice people as your career grows and you move along. And such as one of the people that I worked with at WIP. And Michelle right now she was at the WTAF doing News Probe, and she's doing some Temple University broadcast instruction. She's instructing future broadcasters, and I think that she fits in very well here tonight. Michelle Yaya.
My very first plaque, and I think I'm going to have it emblazoned right here on my chest forever. It's wonderful. Saying that I've always been lacking in that area. But in any way, what is fabulous about finally in my career, which has had some highs and lows, but at this particular juncture in my life, teaching at Temple is really wonderful because I learn more than I teach every day. And the fact that I get to see students, such as the Temple University students, and I get to interact with the students. I'd love to be able to interact with some of the students at Cinekyd, because what I find with these kids is that their talent is limitless and their naivete is so refreshing, and their potential is just astonishing, and I hope they succeed in all their dreams. And thank you very much for having me.
next celebrity host comes from WWDB. I think a lot of people know him today, and a lot of people know him from the past. He just celebrated an anniversary, too, that they held a big, tremendous night at the Spectrum. He goes by Frank Feller, but I think we all know him as one of the original Woodbridge good guys, Frank X. Feller.
If I take this to my dentist, he's going to want to get it off me. It's a plaque. I would first like to apologize, as Will and Scott did, that I can't be here live tonight. But I tell you, these kids do a great live videotape, don't they? Yeah. Thank you, kids. When Mike first asked me if I would come to Cinekyd's celebration this evening, I said, I said, yeah, I'd be happy to. You know, I've gone through tuberculosis and cancer and heartburn. And if my presence here can cure Cinekyd, hell, is that better than Bernie Herman? He looked pretty tonight, didn't he? He must have got a new face. And so I said, that was pretty. It was all right for a talk show host. I'll tell you, I'm really delighted being here. The kids are great. But that little kid sitting next to me, he's going to take my job next week. You know, I don't really know how much I like that. But God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move right along here, but it occurs to us that we have another gentleman in the room who really has worn two hats for many years. He really is a Temple University professor, but he also has had a long and distinguished career in broadcasting in the Philadelphia area. And he's sitting back at a table back here, and gentlemen, if you swing the spotlight back, I'd like to recognize John Roberts, who for so many years... Oh, he's over here. Okay. Sorry. John, stand up. I remember seeing John for so many years, so many years. And now it's my pleasure to introduce, I think this is the first of the evening, a weatherman, a man who can tell us whether tomorrow's weather is going to be good, bad, or whatever it's going to be. From KYW, a great weather forecaster and great broadcaster, Tom LeMay.
As far as the weather goes, tomorrow's going to be 2 minutes shorter than it was today. I want to thank Mike Spack for the reunion. Many of us who have worked a long time together have seen a long time go by before we've all been in the same room together at the same time. And that in itself is not only an event, it's an accomplishment. The field of broadcasting began for me when I was just a little bit older than the two gentlemen that I'm sharing the table with, Scott and Patrick, who are Cinekyds. I was a high school football player in Atlantic City in my freshman year, and I broke my arm, and a wide receiver with a broken arm isn't much good on the field, so they put me in the broadcast booth. And that's when I received my first professional paycheck at the age of 15. And with the exception of a couple of years, the United States Navy signed my checks. I've been receiving paychecks from this industry all along. And it is with a lot of respect that I have for the business, in many ways, for 15 years playing music at WIP, doing sports with the Flyers and the 76ers, offering me a chance to achieve a world championship ring, And then it was people like Bob Petrone who told me to get out of sports and get into something legitimate. The schooling never stops. It was just last year that I completed yet another venture in education with my degree from Drexel University in meteorology. And if any of you Cinekids think that you can grow up to be a professional student, maybe I'm an example of that. But your parents, I'm sure, a couple of which I'm sharing a table with tonight, are proud of the fact that you are something that they are proud to have brought into the world. And I'm sure later on they will be proud of what you bring into the world as a result of your fine education as Cinekids. And as far as I'm concerned, thanks for reminding me and all the other professionals in this room of the innocence that we lost a long time ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And now, have you ever driven to work and you have all the wonderful things in the radio, but now you just want to kind of settle down and you want to hear something easy, something soft, something relaxing, something for 50-year-olds? Well, the next gentleman has something to do with that. He is that lovely voice that you hear, and I've heard it so many times coming down Broad Street, and it's the only thing that stopped me from cracking up more than once as I go toward Temple. Easy 101 FM, program director and morning announcer. He is, well, he's great. Lee Martin from EAZ.
Well, as you know, we don't say a whole lot on Easy 101, so I won't say a whole lot tonight, but I do want to say congratulations to Bob and Roger and Michael and Cinekyd. And my philosophy has always been, in terms of radio and broadcasting, radio, it beats working for a living. As much work as it is, it's also that much fun. So congratulations for choosing this industry. And I did want to tell you that Harvey wanted me to remind you to stay relaxed tonight as you drive home by tuning to Easy 101. Thank you very much.
And now, continuing along as we move toward Harvey, I would like to present somebody. I had dinner with him tonight. First time I've met him. He's a very close friend of another close friend of mine, Lionel. And I feel kind of guilty because he has campaigned for so many things in Philadelphia. The only thing he hasn't run for is the mayor. And we think maybe we might get him to do that the next time around. From KYW, the editorial spokesman, producer, and host of Eyewitness Newsmakers. Here he is. Let's bring on Malcolm Poindexter.
Thank you very much. This is my first time to learn of Cinekyd and its good work, and I want to say that it is a pleasure and an honor to be here tonight with the youngsters who are benefiting from the program, and also to be here with people whom I've admired for years and some of whom I have worked with over the years. They would include, of course, Bernie Herman, Tom Moran at one point, and even Ray Murray, of course, who celebrated his 10th anniversary just 2 days ago. And until the next morning, I thought my claim to fame was being the editorialist at the station, until I went to a family funeral and somebody said, "I saw you dancing on television this morning." I said that was impossible. I knew I and my wife were dancing the night before at Ray's party, but I didn't know that one of our cameramen was standing off on the side, grinding out the footage, and it wound up on 3 today, and of all times to be seen, on the morning of a family funeral. That was a hard pill to swallow. But we love to dance. We have a lot of fun in the business. And even though editorials are the serious side of the business, we have to find time to laugh and have fun. Jessica Savage used to say it, Tom Snyder used to say it, Marcia Rose and others. And it is a fun business, even the serious side. So we work hard, and we laugh hard, and we have fun, and I like to dance a lot. Finally, I want to say thanks to my longtime friend, Lionel Monagas, for telling me about Cinekyd and encouraging me to be with you tonight, because as you may imagine, I'm talking to the young people in particular, we receive a lot of invitations to take part in various functions, and they come from organizations about which we may know little, even though we were born and raised in Philadelphia. And so Lionel told me immediately that this organization was worth participating in. The function tonight was worth participating in, and without hesitation, Roger Gordon, I said yes, and I'm glad. Thank you so very much.
Thought that crossed my mind now. I was standing back there. Supposing a mad bomber placed a bomb in here, can you imagine how many people Cinekyd could place tomorrow morning in broadcasting? Speaking about broadcasting, here's a veteran of 35 years at one station. A gentleman who you know is a legend in his time in journalism. Worked at WFIL all that time, and I'm speaking of news director Alan Stone, and he's back again. Alan, come on.
Mike. So I learned tonight that John Paul Weber of WIP has been for all these years the morning news voice of Philadelphia. Now, I've been under the distinct impression for the past 40 years that that was me. I just want to say that I'm glad I had my free dinner before that remark was made. I'm honored to have been invited to participate in this wonderful occasion this evening. Most of all, to have the opportunity to be with people in my own profession that I haven't seen for a long, long time, some of the most talented people in the history of Philadelphia. Thank you for having me here, and continued success to Cinekyd.
Earlier about shaping lives of people, and Sally Starr and Fix the Hen, Jane. And also here's another gentleman too that did some of that too in the early days of broadcasting. He's been on virtually every channel. You see his face, he's very recognizable. We worked together at WIP. He's a terrific, terrific gentleman. If you ever get a chance to get him away for half an hour, let him tell you some great stories. He's a wonderful, wonderful person to talk about travel. I just enjoy his company. Bill Weber.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be with all of you here. I don't know why they keep picking on Harvey. What a terrible thing to do. You know, when I was a kid growing up, I used to listen to him every morning with those school closing notes, and I appreciate when he said that my school was closed and I didn't have to go to school that day. You know, I noticed you did a bit on Tug McGraw, and you did a videotape of Tug. I did a show on Channel 6 for about 10 years called Breakfast Time, and we did the first videotape show in Philadelphia. It was put out by Bing Crosby Productions. You remember Bing Crosby. And it worked out pretty well. The only trouble was it took us more time to do the show on videotape than it did to do it live. Things have changed just a little bit. Jane Norman and Sally Starr, so glad to see the ladies here. Don't they look great? They really do. I've been fortunate enough to help raise a couple of generations of kids like Sally and Pixanne have done, and that's one of my claims to fame, I guess. You people who've chosen this profession, I just want to say to you that it's a good profession. It's not an easy one. And when you get into this type of a marketplace, a fourth market in the United States, talent is sort of a gimme. You have to have a certain amount of talent to reach this spot. Luck has a lot to do with it. It really does. To be very frank with you. In order to stick around, Bernie mentioned it, you know, in order to be in a business that we love, that probably has a life expectancy of about 4 years, and here people say they've been in it 35 or 40 years, there's a lot of luck and a tremendous amount of talent involved in that. But you know, you can canvass the entire room, and I'm sure that you Cinekyds, if you did, you would find that there's not one radio or TV personality in this room that has ever cursed the alarm clock. I know I never have. I love to go to work. And that's something that maybe a lot of people can't say, and that's a shame. And you picked a profession, as difficult as it is, you picked a profession where people love their work. They like doing with their hands, but that's what we all are. We wouldn't be in this business. We like to do what we're doing. And I hope that you stick it out and find a job and stay with it, because it's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Have been the morning voice on news radio. Our next guest was also one of the original Wibbage good guys, and currently is the programming director of WPEN, Mr. Dean Tyler.
Well, Ken, you're wrong. What? It's better to go on late. There's a million things you could say. I would just like to advise all the members of Cinekyd that the best thing you can do is change your name to one name, and then you can be as big as Harvey. Actually, I think it was Tom LeMaine that mentioned something of a reunion. I think most of the radio people in this room have worked with me at one time or another, and those of you who haven't probably think it's an easy business. But it's a real pleasure to be here tonight. Actually, I was aware of Cinekyd at least a year or two ago and was very impressed with it. And I'm really proud and pleased to be here tonight. And I would just like to say that if there had been a Cinekyd when I was a kid, all of these radio people in this room would probably be much happier because I'd be doing film instead. Thank you very much.
Many years, and he has many voices. Does voiceovers for just about 75% of the commercial advertisement in the city of Philadelphia. Mr. Tom Moran.
I want to thank Mike Spack. Everyone's thanking Mike, and I see no reason why I should not myself for this reunion. Our program director, Dean Tyler, was just here moments ago. Ken Garland, Tom LeMaine, Bill Weber. Who did I forget? Michelle. Michelle, of course. Sorry, Michelle. The only one missing is Nat Wright, I think. Yeah. Is Nat here?
Bob Charger.
And Bob Charger, too, right? Just to be in the same room with the kids from Cinekyd is really a thrill, a pleasure and a half. And I think we're all enriched because of the experience. I hear a familiar laugh over there. And I don't know if the kids from Cinekyd know it or not, they have started their own chapter of the Philadelphia Broadcast Pioneers. This is incredible to be in the same room with all these people. And when I grow up, I want to be as tall as Harvey. Thank you all very much.
son is in the Cinekyd program. He's only 8 years old, but I'll tell you something. He was one of the smartest ones in this room, because he came up to me and he said, "I want to meet the most famous person here tonight." And I have the privilege of introducing him. Ladies and gentlemen, from WMGK, Harvey.
Well, it's an honor to be tonight's running joke. I'd like to thank the mayor of Hatboro for starting this little bit. I was thinking about an hour ago, maybe I could just slip out and notice. It's quite an evening. It really is an assemblage here. Maybe a little advice for some of the kids from Cinekyd. I changed my plans immediately. Turn back before it's too late. You'll end up in a room with people making fun of you all. It's really a terrible way to make a living, trust me. Geez, I was going for John Paul Weber's record of 45 years and I was rudely interrupted last year. I mean, it really is quite extraordinary to be in the room with all these people, and the people that I did grow up listening to and watching on radio and television. Also interesting for me because I've spent just now a year working on kid shows for Nickelodeon. A kids game show called Double Dare and a new game show that premieres Monday called Finders Keepers. In fact, after the radio show this morning, I just finished coming from, we taped 5 shows today down on Channel 12 of the new game show, and I'm the warm-up and the kind of general babysitter for the audience, 150 to 200, 10 to 13-year-olds. 5 game shows with videotape machines that break and cameras that go out of sync and props that don't work. And kids who want entertainment all the time. And 5 shows today, 5 shows yesterday. And after a year of working with the kids, I can tell you it has made me very tired. Kids demand a certain kind of attention, and the people who've worked in children's television for the number of years of some of the people in this room, I've never had such a respect for Sally and Jane and Wee Willie and the folks here tonight who worked in children's television. Kids demand an energy that is a genuine kind of energy. They can spot phony energy in a second, and they've done it with me so many times. I've learned so much in advance. I thought I was like real down to earth and real genuine until I started working in front of kids. And they're so quick to nail you. It's really an incredible discipline. But for the kids in the program, everybody had said, if there had been something like that when I was, a kid, what it would have done. I mean, I started very late, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I think if there had been a program like Cinekyd when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have shown up for any of the meetings, because I didn't know what I wanted to do then. I sometimes think I still don't. I just sort of like wandered in and been very fortunate. But, on a serious note, one of the things that I think we lack in this country is an emphasis on the arts for kids. And my wife and I go to Canada every summer, and we go to a theater festival in Canada. And kids in Canada, when they watch plays, they laugh at all of Shakespeare's jokes. And I don't get them. And the kids are laughing. And an organization like Cinekyd is of such importance, I think. And I'm very pleased to be here. And if Tony Bruno could just borrow my glasses and then wear them for the rest of the night, I think he could take the rest of these jokes for me. Thank you very much, everyone. And kids,
ladies and gentlemen, that sort of concludes the part of you. Now, we are here going to go over to the next portion of our evening, and that is for the kids, because that's what we're all here for. And for that, I would like to present the director of Cinekyd once again, Mr. Bob Clark.
I want to thank all the broadcasters, all of you celebrities, if for nothing else, for your patience. And I'm delighted that you've enjoyed the evening perhaps half as much as we have. This is very brief, but I'm going to take the liberty, if I might, of asking certain members of the same august assembly to have come one at a time to receive a formal thank you from our Masters of Ceremonies representing the children of our entire organization. If I could ask some of you, if it's a problem, well, what can I say? We have a few awards to give out, and I thought it would be nice if, rather than accepting the actual award from me, if you wouldn't mind simply doing the honors of placing that award in the hands of these young people. And I'm going to essentially ask some of you to come up. I wish to God we had more, but then in a sense I think we would be here forever, and you've been awfully kind up to this point, and I'm not going to push it because I don't think even Mike Spack could have you sit here that long. So if I might, I'd like to just ask a few of you to come up and handle the best part of it, because these are our best. Harvey spoke of what it was like working with 150 kids with videotape machines and cameras and props that never worked. And for a moment I didn't know whether he was talking about Channel 12 or Cinekyd. These are the boys and girls that make it very, very worthwhile for those of us who are there doing our job when you are where you are doing your job. First, my stablemate, Mr. Ray Murray, who hosted the very first video segment that was ever done on Cinekyd. Ray, can you come on up here? Thanks. These plaques are going to come from Mr. Evening Magazine himself for outstanding independent video productions, just like the Oscars, because they really do it that way, and for special achievement in what we call mobile video. Mr. Tom McGill, Mr. Jamie Schmidheiser. I'd like to ask, this for me is so absolutely incredible because you have no idea. I grew up with some of you, and there's a couple of you in this room that really made a difference. And my children grew up with you, and for that I will be eternally grateful. Miss Jane Norman, would you join me up here, please? From the organization of Cinekyd, the award Most Promising Newcomer, and this is the young actress to watch out for in the area of TV talent, and this young gentleman. And this is going to be cute because we're going to watch the spotlight fly for a few seconds. Award for Superior Service, Miss Jenna Barnaby, Mr. Tim Bancroft.
introduce my gal, Sally Starr. I am absolutely speechless. You are looking at one of her kids.
Well, you know, it's amazing to me, since I came back home to the Delaware Valley, it's amazing to me to see all of my kids grown up and doing such wonderful work, and you're one of them. I'm very proud of you.
Special service. This is one of the fine awards where a big guy reaches down to help the little guys. Special service is student teacher. And, again, for performance in front of the camera, distinguished veteran performer. First, Mr. Randy Leshevsky, and then Mr. Aaron Brody. Front side. I was 15 years old myself. There was a fellow working for WFIL back when they had this big trailer with a glass front. And the disc jockeys in those days used to apparently go out to different areas, and it was about supper time, and he had taken a break, and there were no crowds, there was just me. And he sat up in the center of this town that Mr. Solano now serves as mayor, outside of this WFIL vehicle, and gave me 15 minutes of his time. He suggested that two things would provide my success. Never give up your dreams and work as hard as you can. And I don't think any of you ever remember those little moments, but he inspired me. Whatever I've done for the kids, indirectly, he can take credit for it. Mr. Bill Wee Willie Weber.
Some people thought that I was really the love child of John Paul Weber and Sally Starr.
The other thing I learned was never compete with a pro. Two young ladies. One award for Distinguished Student Graduate, and the other, as with Mr. Leshevsky, for special service, reaching out to our little kids. And this, I guess, means a great deal to me. Our Distinguished Student Graduate is Miss Barbara Whalen, and for special service as a student teacher, my youngest, and by far the prettiest, Miss Becky Clark. Story because during his remarks he indicated it was his first contact with Cinekyd. This is about his third or fourth, but he's sort of on our turf now. 3 times our paths crossed. 3 times we shared in his spotlight, and every time, as nervous as we and the kids were, this gentleman came in, spent time with us, would go perform, come back, spend time with the kids. 3 separate occasions.
And my God, I've never forgotten that. A genuinely nice person, in addition to being an incredibly talented individual, Mr. Larry Ferrari. Did he go?
I think so, Bob. Larry can't be with us tonight, but we'll accept the award.
Right down the list, I have big stories. They talked about inspiration, and that's important to us at Cinekyd, because very frankly, it is frequently not only what the individual does on camera, but the services that they provide off camera. And as impressive as he found us, I found his accomplishments equally so. Mr. Malcolm Poindexter. Poindexter will have the distinct honor of recognizing two of the youngest members of our program, cited for outstanding service when they come at this age and they work so hard, and we recognize that we really have a winner. Mr. Colin Webb, Mr. David Stamp. Give you the other two. Same program. These were the only 4 children from this program selected for these awards. Outstanding performance in our Tyro, which is the youngsters program. Miss Carmel Trachtenberg, Mr. Blair Weicker. Got 2. Decided that if Hollywood had the Oscars and television had the Emmys and Broadway had the Tonys, we would have the Sams. And they're actually made of metal, and they were handcrafted for us, and they stand for Superior Achievement in Media. And they represent what we consider to be about the best that you can be. Your mastery of your own skill, your ability to pass that on and share it with others, and most important, your willingness to keep your nose clean in the process. And I think it only fitting, ladies and gentlemen, since he has endured the worst of it, that he should enjoy the best of it. So Harvey, if you'll come on back. Now, if not our best, 2 of our best. Mr. Josh Sterling and Miss Amy Bangle. My swan song. You've been great. I have to do this, though. I want to thank our staff, the kids. We're not ready to compete with KYW quite yet, but perhaps by next year. The hours in getting this thing together have been incredible. This is not our home turf, but This was not my idea either. I never in all my life thought so many of you would care so much about these kids to give up an evening. And the dream belonged to one guy, and more than any of the rest of us, somebody else really broke his neck for our children. And this is a small token of our esteem, and I would like to personally put this in the hands of Dr. Roger Gordon and Mr. Michael Spack.
Whatever it is, I'll share it with you all. Thank you. I owe you one. Thank you.
The time is dancing, the bar is open. Thank you.